You are doing everything right. You are showing up, you are trying, you are putting in the effort every single day, and yet something still feels off. Your child seems less sure of themselves than you hoped. They hesitate, they pull back. They look to you for permission before they even try, and you cannot figure out why, because from where you are standing, you are doing everything a good parent should do. What if the thing quietly hurting your child's confidence is not what you are doing wrong, but something you are doing that you genuinely believe is right? That is what we need to talk about today, and I want you to stay with me through every second of this, because what I am about to share with you has transformed the relationship between thousands of parents and their children in ways that felt almost miraculous. Parents who are exactly where you are right now, frustrated, confused, loving their child deeply, but watching that child shrink now. Before I go any further, if you are someone who is serious about turning this around quickly, there's a program linked in the description below this video. Most parents who find it wish they had found it sooner. Some parents look at it and talk themselves out of it, and a year later they are back, watching videos like this one, wondering why nothing changed. I am not going to pressure you, but I want you to at least know it exists. Now let us get into the real conversation. Picture this. Your child is standing in front of a puzzle. They are trying to figure it out. They are struggling, and you watch for about 30 seconds before something in you just cannot take it anymore. You lean over, you point, you guide, you help. Because you love them. Because watching them struggle feels like watching them fail. Because somewhere deep inside you, a voice as a good parent does not let their child sit in that discomfort. So you help. And here is what happens inside your child in that exact moment. A tiny signal fires in their brain. It sounds like this. I cannot do this on my own. Someone always has to save me. I am not capable. You did not say those words. You would never say those words. But their nervous system heard them anyway. This is called overhelping, and it is the single most quietly destructive thing happening in parent-child relationships right now. Not yelling, not being too strict, not screen time. This. The gentle, well-meaning, loving act of stepping in too soon. Researchers who study childhood development have spent decades documenting what happens when children are consistently rescued from difficulty. The findings are staggering. Children who are protected from struggle do not become more confident, they become more dependent. They become more anxious. They become more likely to give up the moment something feels hard. Because their internal wiring says hard means I need help, not hard means I can figure this out. Think about the last time your child faced something difficult. What did they do first? Did they try, or did they look at you? If they looked at you first, I need you to hear me right now. That is not a personality trait. That is a pattern that was built, brick by brick, through thousands of small moments where the message was you cannot trust yourself to handle this. And here is the part that stings. Every single one of those moments came from love. That is the cruelest part of this whole thing. The most damaging parenting pattern of our generation is not rooted in neglect or harshness. It is rooted in care. It is rooted in a parent who cannot bear to see their child uncomfortable. And the world we live in has made that worse. Because we have more tools than ever to remove discomfort from our children's lives instantly. But confidence is not built in comfort. Confidence is built in the gap between I do not know if I can do this, and I did it. Every time you close that gap for your child before they get the chance to cross it themselves, you steal from them. Not because you are a bad parent, because you are a human being who loves someone and does not fully see what is happening beneath the surface. Let me paint you a different picture now. Imagine your child 10 years from now. They are sitting in a classroom, or a job interview, or facing a problem that has no easy answer. And instead of freezing, instead of looking around for someone to bail them out, something quiet and steady inside them says, I have handled hard things before. I can handle this. That quiet voice, that internal anchor, that is what we are talking about building. And it does not start when they are older. It starts right now, in the small, ordinary, easily overlooked moments of every single day. The puzzle on the floor, the argument with a sibling, the homework they do not understand, the social situation that made them feel embarrassed. Those are not problems to be solved. Those are the training ground where confidence is forged. Now I know what some of you are thinking. But there is a difference between letting them struggle and letting them fail. And you are right, there absolutely is. The goal is not to step back entirely and watch your child drown. The goal is to change what your presence means in those hard moments. Instead of being the person who fixes it, become the person who believes they can fix it themselves. That shift sounds tiny. The impact is enormous. When a child knows that you believe in their ability to figure things out, something changes in how they see themselves. They start to internalize that belief. They start to become the person you are treating them as. This is not theory. This is how the brain actually works. Self-concept is built through reflected appraisal, meaning we come to see ourselves the way the people who matter most to us see us. If the person you trust most in the world keeps rescuing you, you conclude you need rescuing. If the person you trust most in the world keeps saying, "I know you can figure this out," you start to conclude that you can. Same child, same situation. Completely different outcome based on one shift in how you show up. And here is where I want to really sit with you for a moment, because I know this is not easy to hear. There is a version of you that has been carrying guilt about this. Maybe you have already sensed something was off. Maybe you have watched your child hesitate and wondered if something you did caused that. Maybe you've had moments late at night where you replayed interactions and thought, should I have handled that differently? That guilt is not a sign that you are a bad parent. It is a sign that you are paying attention. It is a sign that you care deeply enough to look at the hard things, and that caring is the exact same energy that, when redirected, becomes the force that changes everything. The parents who transform their child's confidence fastest are not the ones who suddenly become perfect. They are the ones who make one specific shift and stay consistent with it. That is it. One shift, applied consistently, over time. And the results that come from that are the kind that make parents cry. Not from sadness, but from watching their child do something they never thought they would do on their own. Watching them push through. Watching them succeed at something hard and then look up with an expression that says, "I did that, not you, me." That moment is worth everything. Now I want to address something that almost nobody talks about, which is what this pattern costs you as a parent. When you are always the rescuer, you are always on call. You are always in a state of vigilance, scanning for your child's distress so you can respond to it. That is exhausting. That is the kind of exhaustion that does not go away with sleep. Because it is not physical, it is the exhaustion of being responsible for another person's emotional state at all times. Parents who step into a more empowering approach do not just see their children transform. They describe feeling lighter, less anxious, less like a firefighter, and more like a guide. The relationship shifts from one where you carry the weight to one where you share the journey. That is a completely different way to exist as a parent. And the timepiece matters too. Think about how many hours, weeks, months, years have gone into trying to manage your child's struggles instead of building their capacity to handle those struggles. The approach I am describing is not just more effective. It is ultimately less work, because you are building a child who needs you differently, not less differently. You are no longer needed to solve. You are needed to anchor, to believe, to be present without taking over. That is a role that does not drain you. That is a role that fills you. Thousands of parents have walked this path. Parents who describe their children as clingy, as anxious, as unable to handle anything without a meltdown. Parents who were at the end of their rope. Parents who had tried everything and felt like nothing worked. And after making this shift and staying consistent with it, they watched those same children begin to show up differently. Begin to try things without being pushed. Begin to recover from setbacks instead of collapsing under them. Begin to say things like, "I want to do it myself." Those 3 words, "I want to do it myself," are the sound of confidence being born. You have more power to create that than you realize. Not power over your child, power alongside them. If you are ready to stop guessing and start making real, lasting change, the program linked in the description below gives you a clear, structured path to do exactly that. Every day that passes is another day this pattern continues. The parents who wait do not wait because they care less. They wait because they tell themselves they will get to it later. But later has a cost, and that cost is paid quietly, day by day, in your child's self-belief. The parents who act now are the ones who look back a few months from now, barely recognizing the child in front of them, in the best possible way. Go check what is in the description, not tomorrow, now.